Brought to you by
고캄 러시아잠 4-2-3을 지대선 FIFA 월드컵 해내자니 모카 고캄 러시아잠.
Namaste and a very good evening to all my lovely viewers who are watching Coca-Cola, the evening show at 6. I am Suzita Shrestha and my guest today has a lot of feathers in her cap. She was a former RJ, she's a certified Zumba instructor, she's an educator and she's also an entrepreneur with her unique cafe library combination called Kataksha. So let's welcome Suzita Gurung. Suzita, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sadiksha. Thank you. You know, it's great being here. Yeah,
it's lovely having you here, and you know, so many professions that you're into. But
yes.
Growing up,
Yeah.
Sana Hunda, was there a particular profession that you were a little inclined to, that I want to be this, Panera?
No, I think it's like this. Our, you know, like any typical Nepali parents, you know, engineer bana, doctor bana, and all that stuff. So I think I always had that, and I was always a really bright student. So you know, I always had that. I never really thought I'd become what I am today, an educator. But I was always in the fitness field, and as for the radio, as for being an RJ, I think because I'd always loved emceeing, you know, hosting and talking and everything, that was something I kind of wanted to be, but not really, not exactly like an educator, because I don't think any parent, like usually, like, you know, what do you want your kid to be? Teacher bana, it's not out there. So yeah, I would say not really something I'd envisioned for myself. It gradually I got there. I would say.
Gradually happened.
Yeah.
Life happened.
Yeah, life happened. I mean, like, I think it's amazing, like how opportunities come along your way, and then how things kind of, you know, manage to work out, and then you just grab what you have.
Right.
Yeah.
Ani hazule banu just the educator, you know, you don't call yourself a teacher, but you call yourself an educator.
Yes.
So what, according to you, is the difference between being a teacher and being an educator?
I think for me it's about, you know, the willingness and the openness to learn. So, I mean, I always say this, and I know the lecturing method is, of course, the most, you know, encouraged method in a way or two, and that's what we are used to. But, okay, and that is fine. Okay, lecture your students, because sometimes that's the best way that they can learn, right? But for me, it's also important, I think, as a teacher, you also have to be willing to learn from your students. Because there's so much, you know, that they will give you. You give them the knowledge, the content, but you know, it's amazing how students can really open up your eyes to different things. And I teach high schoolers, so there's always something new happening with them, right? So I think being an educator is about really being willing to let your students speak for themselves, you know, let them express themselves, let them be passionate, and you accepting that, okay, I can learn a thing or two from them as well.
So being an educator is a two-way street.
Yeah, for me, that is what I would say. That's something I would encourage, you know, everyone, all teachers out there to do. Yeah.
So how is it actually like to be an educator, to go to the class, to talk to the students, to teach them?
I mean, I love this job. Trust me, Sadiksha, I have people coming up to me and they're like, oh, you know, there's so much more. Because like I say, there's this, you know, stigma with teaching. It's like, oh, for me, like my friends have told me, like, you know, my ex-classmates, for them sometimes it's like, oh, was there really nothing else or something like that? And you're like, oh my God, you can do so much more. And I'm like, well, but I love this. Isn't that what matters the most? I mean, if I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And of course, initially it was easier in a way, I think, because of, you know, there wasn't a lot of age gap with my students. And it was also easier because I was just, you know, stepping my foot, just kind of testing the waters. And I wasn't really sure whether I was going to do this for a long time. But then at this point, I'm like, okay, there's so many things I want to work on. I want to improve this and do that. But I love doing this. I love the fact that even as a teacher, as an educator, you know, I'm also learning from them, learning from them, and also sometimes curriculum changes and so many things that you're learning. So I love it. I enjoy this. A lot of trouble, a lot of stress. Sometimes you feel way too responsible for too many people, but I guess, you know, it comes with the job, and
overall it's a good feeling.
It's a fantastic feeling.
All right. So we'll take a short break, but after that break, we'll talk about her venture, which is Kataksha. If you want to know more about it, don't change your channels and be back after the break. Welcome back, my lovely viewers. After that short break, you're watching Coca-Cola, the evening show at 6, only on Himalaya Television. I am Sadiksha and my guest today is Suzita Gurung. So, Suzita, right before the break, we talked about, being an educator.
Yes.
And now we will talk about your baby. Kataksha.
Yeah, okay, my baby number one.
Yes, your baby number one, Kataksha, which is a unique cafe library kind of place, right? Yes. And you were also nominated for Height Wow Women Achievers Award for your first baby, so congratulations on that.
Yes,
so,
thank you.
Kataksha naam ko meaning say I know. So what would you tell our viewers? What's the meaning of Kataksha?
No, I know there are different meanings, and it also refers to kind of ogling at something and really staring at something, admiring something. But it also means, in a way, all right, in some translations, it also means reflection. So I thought I'll go ahead with it because a friend recommended it to me. And I thought, because it's associated with education, reading, studying. So I used to tease, my students and friends, well, you can come there and reflect, reflect on your studies. So then you'll be inspired to study and all that stuff. So I like to stick with that. It's admiration and reflection.
So that's why
I know there's a bit of that sarcasm thing. It's part of it. There is that touch of sarcasm as well, being sarcastic. But, well, I'm a very sarcastic person as well. So I think it resonates very well with me.
So it's a perfect name, sort of a perfect name for you.
Sort of, yes, I would say that.
So Kataksha Mathapaili, when you thought about, combining food and combining books and just a place where people can come in and reflect on their lives or reflect on what's happening, all of that. When you shared it with your family members, how did they react?
Well, initially it kind of took some time to kind of get them on board because my mom especially, she's very practical, and so she was like, are you sure you'll be able to give time to this? And in the meantime, while we were setting up Kataksha, then a few months later I found I was pregnant, and so there was this whole thing, and then the earthquake had just happened, and so there were so many things going on. So my mom was really practical, and she was like, Aisha, you're going to be able to give time because there are going to be so many things, and starting off something like this is it's
time consuming.
It's very time consuming, and I was like, well, I'll just give it a shot. Let's just see, because it's something I've always wanted to do, and I had that perfect opportunity to kind of materialize that dream.
Right.
And my husband was on board from the get-go. So I think that was important, because we were working together. So yeah, I mean, at this point, I kind of get my mom, like what she had to say, and she was like time-consuming. But I guess, again, it's a learning process. So I've learned a lot from it. So yeah, it was kind of difficult at first, but then once you get it started, there really is no stopping.
Right.
So yeah, you just do it.
So again, combination of food and books. So from the menu of the foods that you have there, what is your favorite food?
We do a lot of snacks, actually. A lot of fast food, because that seemed most convenient and all that stuff. But my husband came up with his own twist to this. He called this the chicken spicy wings or something like that. Yeah, I forgot the name. My favorite dish, but I forgot the name. Yeah, but so he put his own twist to it. That's the very usual, coating of the chicken and all. But then he has his own herbs, the Manang herbs and everything. So it's really spicy and nice. So that would be my favorite dish, and it was really popular actually when we first introduced it. Yeah.
And your favorite book on the shelves in Kataksha?
That'd be quite difficult to
pick just one book.
Yeah, because so
your favorite shelf then?
Well, I have this shelf that I dedicate to authors that are really well known, and also like I do this book of the week kind of thing as well. But I would say my favorite book, if I had to choose, would be Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. Beautiful book, easy read. Kind of makes you reflect. Kataksha, right? So, yeah, I would say that book.
And so when you just started, the family convinced to time but when you opened Kataksha, when the people came in, were they surprised? And isn't the library supposed to be quiet?
Yes.
Are we supposed to eat inside the library? So the confusion here.
Yeah, there was, because we also we got featured in a couple of write-ups as well, and then they would ask us like, what is Kataksha? And that would be quite difficult for me as well initially, because it's a library. There's a space. You can read books, and it's also a tuition center, because that's what I do as well. And then there's a cafe as well. So kind of putting all of that into
one
word,
place.
few sentences was really difficult. So just getting the notion across was quite tough, I would say. But then people understood it, and we are like on the 5th floor, and you know, nobody, it's a very unassuming building, and the moment you'd come in and then suddenly you see this place that's full of dream catchers and all that stuff, and a library shelf and everything, so people were kind of surprised initially, but then once they understood the concept, I think they got it. And I hope they enjoyed it.
All right. In conversation with Suzita Gurung, an entrepreneur who has a unique cafe library combination and calls it Kataksha. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after the break. Hi everyone, if you've just tuned in to Himalaya Television, you're watching Coca-Cola, the evening show at 6 with Sadiksha and my guest Suzita Di. So Suzita Di, you know, we're talking about so many things that you've done, being an educator, being an entrepreneur, being involved as an RJ, but also you're a certified Zumba instructor. So, you know, the Zumba Sikauni or Zumba start, how did you do it?
Well, actually, long backstory. I was certified as a group instructor, so aerobics instructor when I was 13 actually. It goes back because I was born and raised in Singapore, and then we had a small community. We still have a community, and they had the ladies aerobics club, and Shova Gurung, Shova ma'am, she was the leader, she was the head when I joined in. Actually, my mom somehow she managed, because they do not allow us to do it, and I was really young.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know, and I also just went with the flow, no? Because well, yeah, my mom is amazing, and then, you know, and then she's like, okay, do this. And I remember it was my summer vacation. I was like, okay then. So my sister and I, actually, the two of us, we went together, and Shova ma'am has been a mentor since then. So I was an aerobics instructor since I was 13, but never really got into really practicing it because I was a student, right? So I wasn't really like teaching or whatever. And then it was when I came to Nepal that I started doing it. And the aerobics industry was not really huge then. A lot of gymming and a lot of like, you know, a lot of misconceptions about health and exercise and everything. So I started with Shova ma'am, who's now with Next Step Fitness, but I started with her at Jasmine. So Neeraj Dai also gave me a lot of opportunities, and then we started out there. And then Zumba, another backstory of my parents, it's like they know what I need kind of thing. So they were in Europe when I was in Nepal, and then Zumba was getting a lot of recognition, huge in Europe. And my dad one day just turned on his TV, he saw it, and he was like, you know, chori, so he just sent me, you know, the Zumba pack. And then there's his dumbbells, and I'm like, oh wow, this is nice. There's salsa, there's, you know, hip hop, there's merengue. I was like, okay, this is cool. So then I started just doing it at home, and then Zumba then started picking up here because it got big in India, and then so of course it's spread here as well. And then so we talked about it, and then I was like, oh my god, I know Zumba. I have no idea what it means, but I know it. I've been doing it, right? So we were not certified back then, but then we decided, okay, so maybe we could kind of, you know, be a pioneer in kind of trying to make this a big thing in Nepal. So with Jasmine, Shova ma'am, with Neeraj Dai, we kind of worked on it together, and then then I got certified, I got licensed, and I love it.
and what is, I think, you know, like you said, it's slowly still getting popular now, one of the most popular form of exercise.
Yes, definitely.
But what, according to you, is the biggest myth that you want to debunk regarding Zumba?
Oh my goodness, that it's a dance class. Like, don't come up to me and be like, when is Zumba dance? I'm like, no, they're two different things. And I get it. I get the whole idea about it being a dance class because, and I think, you know, we cater to whatever our clients want.
Right.
So a lot of instructors also, we put in, you know, Nepali songs and Bollywood songs, which is perfectly fine. But, you know, I think what we should also understand is that, yes, it's a dance-inspired fitness program, but if you do every step in a certain way, like when you're marching and you make sure that you're swaying your hips in a certain way, you're working out your core muscles in that way, right? So I think that's important to understand. It's not really a dance class, very nice music, but you've got to pay attention to the little details in terms of how you move your body.
Right.
So you work on your different muscle groups, you know. So
that myth you want to debunk. Ani, I also want to talk about, you know, you being a working mother as well. Ani, so many of our viewers who are watching us also. काम गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ फ्यामिलीलाई हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ सो आफ्नो ख्याल चाहिँ राख्न त्यति भ्याउनु हुन्न सो व्हाट टिप बिकज आई नो यु अल्सो राइट अ कलम यु नो फिटनेस वेलनेस कलम अल्सो यु राइट सो हजुरको अनुसार चाहिँ व्हाट इज द वान टिप दैट दे कैन डू भेरी इजिली टु टेक केयर अफ देयर हेल्थ
I think this sounds very cliche, but over time, like age has taught me that it's really important to put yourself first. And I know it's difficult when you're a working mother because there's just so many things, and sometimes life is going to seem unfair. Trust me, I went through that. But I think just making sure that, just it's little things that you do. So like things like making sure that you're eating on time. Maybe it's not the healthiest food that you're eating, because sometimes you will, just give in to your cravings or to convenience, but making sure you're eating on time, making sure that you're drinking water, and even if you're not exercising, stretch. Stretching is one of the most underrated things, regime that we just kind of overlook, because but it's not like that. So I think, my tips would be make sure you eat on time, drink a lot of water
and stretch.
Stretch. And so many little herbs that we have, spices, include a little bit of it, just a dash of cinnamon, have cloves with your milk tea if you want. But
so simple things that you can do at home. You don't have to go to the gym.
No. I have not really, like, ever since I had the baby, I've not really been able to make time to go to the gym. And I know people go like, oh, if you make time, you can do anything. Well, I know, I do a lot of stuff, but sometimes it's just
not possible.
Yeah, it's just impossible. It's just too hectic. And that, I think that's important for working mothers to know as well. If things are getting really hectic, take a step back. There are certain things you should learn to kind of let go, and then certain things you should be fine with. Like, okay, if I'm not doing this now, it's perfectly okay. Because sometimes things get really crazy.
Right.
So stay at home, do your stretches, do some body weight training if you must. Jumping jacks, like 10 in the morning. Or I met Milan Sonam during Pinkathon, and he was like, just do 2 push-ups per day, and you're going to gradually, it's going to work out. It's true. Don't start off like, okay, I must, do this, or I must kind of
give 1 hour or something like that.
No, it doesn't have to be like that.
So small steps to change and for a healthier lifestyle, right?
That would be my mantra.
Okay. So in conversation with Suzita Gurung, don't go anywhere, take a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, my lovely viewers. After that short break, you're watching Coca-Cola, the evening show at 6. I am Sadiksha and I am in conversation with Suzita Gurung.
Yes.
So Suzita, we talked about you being able to do so much. This is one question that women, working mothers especially, they get asked a lot. Like, how do you manage time? The men are never asked this question. Like, they have been doing it, perfectly for such a long time. But you definitely do a lot of things. So, tapaile say, kasari time lai manage garnu huncha. Maybe, some tips to help other working mothers who would want to do so many things but just can't find the time.
I mean, I don't know, Sadiksha. It's like, I think it's very individualistic also, okay? And about the tips they want, and they have their own lives, they have their own difficulties. So like I would say I've lucked out in terms of getting the support system, and having all these people who are supporting me and being really enthusiastic about my passions as well. But I think at the end of the day, again, very cliche, but really age okay, it's like you experience it and you're like, okay, so it's the one, So like even for me, like when I was really young, I always just enjoyed doing a lot of stuff. I don't know how I got into it, but it somehow just became something that I enjoyed doing. Maybe I just liked being busy and not just itike boss ni huncha ni. So like but I think if I had to say one thing, like why I'm able to manage a lot of things, I think it's because I really want to do all of this stuff.
You're passionate about it.
Yeah, I'm passionate about it. And then I think it's really important to, again, learn to say no. Or just, because, again, it gets crazy and there'll be a lot of stuff going on. So, because when you're passionate about something, and you're so positive about it, I think it just shines.
Right.
So, it may seem very spiritual, but then your positivity will also kind of, you attract the same kind of people, okay? Until currently, I think like, working-wise opportunities-wise even managing, I've been able to do it. Of course, some days are crazy. I'm not going to lie about it. It takes a lot of hard work. You've got to be able to, you've got to be willing to sacrifice all of that. So once you do that, and then it's going to take time. You've got to kind of let your body, mentally, physically, very important, mentally, very important. You've got to allow yourself to adjust to all the different things that might be happening, and then give yourself some time, and then slowly, you will also kind of come up with a way to work things out, okay? And then later, when things get a bit crazy and you're like, I need to let go of some things, you'll also know. So you've got to trust yourself also, I think.
So you have to learn to say no to things that don't really matter,
Yeah.
but also be really, really passionate about the things that really do matter. Afno lagi. Ani tapaile, you know, like you said, it took some time convincing your family members as well about the things that you want to do. Related. And there's so many other women who are watching this show and are wondering, there are things I want to do as well, but you know, maile chai kasari convince गर्ने parents like मेरो passion छ, but if my family doesn't support, what should I do? You know, so what would you like to tell them?
So for that, I'll give you a story. Eh? So back when I was in class 8 ko belama, so I was a full-time student, and it's a new school. We go to secondary school back in Singapore, and then I was part of the student council, and then I was selected for this school play, it's a musical, and then so school ended like around 2, and then I had to stay back for rehearsals until about 6, and I had to go back home. Okay. So this was for about 3 months, and then like class 7 months, we have this major exams which helps us get selected for, you know, whether you're going to get the top classes or not.
Okay.
So my dad he was not really, I wouldn't say he wasn't happy about it, but he was just like, are you sure you want to do this? Because you're dedicating so much time into this, you know. And I guess in that way, my stubbornness helped. My friends are like, hey, jiddi cha, and I'm like, well, kale jitle pani euta ke achievement hune rahecha. I was still stubborn about it. I was like, no, ma garchu. So what I did is that I went ahead with the show. I did it. I was out, you know, I would go out from home 6 a.m. in the morning. I'll be back like 6, 7 p.m. on my own. I'll be coming back. And yet I managed to top my cohort during that time. And I got into the first class, and I got all the sciences and everything. And so I think my dad also realized that too. If she wants to do it, well, it's just so you see, but then I lucked out in the sense that my parents were willing to, they were understanding, and they were willing to give me again that opportunity. So you see, that's why I say it's very individualistic. Okay? But what I believe is that if you, again, about your passions and I want to do something, how do I want to convince her? And I think you've got to take a step forward. Okay. Take a step forward, do it.
Take the risk.
Take the risk. Yeah, there's risk involved. Take the risk, because it's so draining me, I know. And you're constantly, because again, I think it's our culture, we're always concerned about the future. So instead of focusing on like what we have now, we're always concerned about like, fail, and I get it, it's important, but you know, so you take the risk. And I think once you get successful in that, and then I think once you show your passion, and then you're like, I see your parents, they will understand.
Or whoever is,
whoever is your support system, they will understand.
And they'll believe.
Yeah, and they will believe in you, and they will let you do it. So, yeah, my life is so with Kataksha, same thing. I was like, okay, sir, I'll just do it. I'll take the risk. And then I went ahead with it. It was difficult, but I took the difficulty myself. I never, kind of displaced my anger or my stress to somebody else. And that is important. You know, you should be able to bear it, like,
and be responsible for the outcomes.
Correct, because once that happens, nobody can really also meddle with your affairs and whatever you want to do.
And nobody can say, I told you so.
I told you so. That's the worst,
Right.
But sometimes you can't help it, True. But I think that's important.
So thank you so much, Suzita, for giving our viewers such wonderful insights and some tips. So thank you so much for being here on the show.
Please, thank you for having me. I mean, I enjoyed myself. Yes.
So with that, we come to an end of yet another wonderful episode of Coca-Cola, the evening show at 6. I hope you loved the show as much as I did having this wonderful conversation. I'll see you next week. Till then, keep watching Himalaya Television.
Brought to you by
Go come Russia Zam. FIFA World Cup हेर्न जाने मौका. Go come Russia Zam.